Okay, hello again. I wanted to go over a few things in this video that pertain to France and living in France. So we're going to go through a few things. I did a video on set, and I said there were two different sides to set. One side of set is Ballaruc, is not set, is Ballaruc, I think it is, Ballaruc. And the other side is set. So if you're in set, go to Ballaruc and check it out. You're not that far. It doesn't make sense to go to set only and not Ballaruc. So check that out. And that was in the video I had on Ballaruc/set. Okay, let's get into what I want to talk about with regard to France, my experiences. And I have a list here on my phone, a long list. Okay, driving in France. If you're thinking about driving in France and getting your own car, be careful. If you get 2 tickets, I think it's 2 tickets that are speeding, you can have your license taken away for maybe a year, and you don't want that. I suggest rental car. And a lot of people who come from the States get a rental car. A lot of people from England probably get a car. They're coming here permanently because the prices in England are so, or London, England, United Kingdom, so high. So that's one thing you want to know. There are a lot of cameras on the highway. Don't be fooled. Use your Waze, because it tells you cameras approaching or police are up ahead. Make sure you use Waze. And also, for those who are living on the East Coast in the United States, you have reciprocity. Some states in the United States have reciprocity with France, so you just need to exchange your license, okay? And you're given a certain amount of time. Now, if you're on a student visa, you can't even get a license. So you don't even have to worry. The clock begins once you switch. If you're on a student visa, the clock begins once you become or get a resident visa or something that's more residential versus student. Okay, so next thing, different stores in France. You have Carrefour, one of my favorites. It's like a super Walmart, and I think I'm holding my hand here in front of the light. I don't want to do that, and it's burning up in this place. Carrefour, I think it's called Auchan, Auchan. Don't go there. Don't need to know the name. Well, one day I'll get it down pat. Intermarché is a store I go to because it's a lot cheaper. Intermarché, supermarché or grocery store. Leclerc, I think it's called. I'm not crazy about that one. U Express, Casino. Now, Casino, they're getting rid of a lot of them in Toulouse, but they're still around. And Picard I love because they have frozen foods. So they have these frozen foods that's not overprocessed, which is nice. So those are the different stores, and they have a variety of stores, folks. My favorite one that's like Whole Foods in the United States with gourmet items is Grand Frais. I love Grand Frais. And you'll see commercials all over France for Grand Frais where people are in love with Grand Frais and just falling out on the floor. That's me, okay? We have something also in France that's like the Salvation Army, where you donate items that you don't want. It's called Emmaus. EMMAUS. And you have to find a location near you because in Béziers, it's like further away from the city. So it's a big place, looks just like what we call the Salvation Army or Red Cross donation centers that we have in the United States. Dogs, let's go into dogs. Passports, certification. I'm in Béziers right now, don't know how long I'll be here. I'm in Béziers and they require your dog undergo pretty much a DNA test so they can identify the poop on the ground and if it's yours. If it's yours and you haven't picked it up, they're going to charge you 130 euros. So 130 euros. Okay, so they're going to charge you 130 euros fine, which is probably why I don't see that much poop in Béziers like I saw in Montpellier. Okay, that could be why, because they are actually charging a fee for people who are not picking up the poop in Béziers, which is a big difference. Passports. If you're thinking about leaving here and going to another country, or going back home, make sure you check with ICAD, certifications, ICAD, or the Ministry of Agriculture in France. Same as in the US, we had to go through the Department of Agriculture. The same thing here for getting all their documents. Luckily I had a passport for my dogs from Portugal. So we just keep that passport updated and it's pretty easy. For boarding, you need their boarding shot, same thing. Boarding, difficult to find. In France, we're used to PetSmart where we can drop our dogs off at a facility that's run by a company that looks like a hotel. Here it's hard to find facilities like that. They're usually further out in the vineyard somewhere. Be careful because some are not what they appear to be. Some are not as nice, some are not as clean, and always do a visit with your pet before leaving them. Some of them, they mix the dogs together. My dogs couldn't sleep because they're used to being together, and they're kind of foo-foo dogs. So they're used to being spoiled and having their own place. So they weren't able to sleep. We did an overnight just to see how they would do. The kennels are better, and the kennels are usually outside. Other than that, you have to find pet sitters who come into your home. Now, if you like that, I'm from the US, we don't play that. People coming into your home a lot of time take care of your pet, unless you know them. So that's another thing. That's the big thing here. I'm used to boarding at a PetSmart hotel, and they have their individual room. They get playtime, all this, or walks that you pay extra. So that's one thing you have to deal with here. You need individual people to actually watch your dog and come to your home. Let's see. I put this in here because of eye exams. I'm so glad I have my insurance in the US, my eye insurance, okay? Because I've had two doctors, one in Toulouse, one in Montpellier, who gave me examinations and did not know what they were doing. It was a mess. I can't tell you. It was a mess. I couldn't even see when my prescription was done. And they were nice enough to do it over and just give me my old prescription. I said, never again. Love the glasses, don't like the prescription. Be leery, some prescriptions you can tell that something's wrong because they're so way off. I even had one young doctor, and this is another thing, I don't have trust in the young people in France at all. If they're in their 20s and 30s, about 30s, and they're running something, not as professional. Not as professional. So this young doctor told me when he gave me my eye exam that, you may have to come back. If this doesn't work out, I'll get it changed and you can come back. I'm trying something out. Who says that? On my eyes, you're trying something out. I don't think so. And I did send him the prescription back when I had another prescription that was closer to what I should have. But when I got the second prescription from someone in Montpellier, I couldn't even see across the street. I'm like, dude, if I were driving, I wouldn't even be able to read the sign. Just craziness, okay? So for physicians, you have to keep trying them and trying them. Same thing you do when you're in your own country until you find the right people who know how to do the right thing. I'm learning the older, the better in France, but that's the same thing everywhere. They just have more experience. Oh, also with pets. Some vets love working on your pets. So you have to be a good pet owner and stand up for your pet's rights. Don't let them just do anything because they'll milk them for the money and keep examining, keep operating to get that moolah. And I'm finding out in France is that there's a lot of poverty. A lot of poverty, a lot of people really desperate for money. And that goes into another thing with the apartments. I hate to call them slumlords, but I had a big fight over the Airbnbs because they were just like, no, they were slumlords. But I'm finding out it's just something that happens here. They just don't fix crap, okay, and expect you to pay the rent. So what you're getting is maybe a water heater that goes out all the time. You could get the mold. But some things that you get, they could have fixed before you got there. They just decided to save their money and not do it and let you suffer until they pretend that, oh, this just happened the first time. No, this has been happening. You just don't want to get it fixed. And I hate to say that, but it's true. I see a behavior here that is more like, okay, I'm doing it, but guess what? I'm really not doing it. So you have to, when they say no means yes or no doesn't mean no, that's because some people are just telling you something. They're not as assertive with helping you and finding the solution as you would find in the US. Here is more so, okay, I've got to take this lunch break. Let me just tell this person I'm going to get it done when I'm not going to get it done. I can't tell you how many people have told me, I'll call you back, especially at the banks. I'll call you back when you're opening an account. And then when I go back, they're like, we can't find your paperwork. Did you? Yes, you scanned about my taxes, my this, my that, but you can't find it. Yeah, okay. So they're notorious for telling you what they're going to do, but they don't do it. So you have to be diligent, forceful, go back and stay on them. Now, I've seen something different. I noticed this happen usually when I deal with the younger people again. The younger people, but when I dealt with someone older, it was processed as normal. When I recently opened up a bank account, no problem. Same bank I tried to open up in Montpelier, at the same bank that I attempted to open up in Montpelier, and they took taxes, this, scanned it, and he said, we'll have to get back with you and they'll give you an answer in the mail. But yet I go to another small town and they open it up on the spot. Interesting. No does not mean no, folks. No may mean you need to find someone who knows what they're talking about. You need to find someone who's not playing around, or you need to find someone who really is serious about helping you. Taxes and socialism. I think I went into this. Some people are just lazy, and there's some people who just will work for you. You have to decipher between those people. Also, I would say I see this even in restaurants that I've been going to. Some restaurants professional, some restaurants not professional. So when you're going up and down France, you're going to find the professional people who behave as if they're in a real restaurant. They're not asking you personal questions. They're not trying to find out your business while they're serving you or half serving you. And you're trying to have just a quiet, peaceful discussion with someone and lunch. And then you're going to find the restaurants where they're on their toes. You have to decipher. It's a lot of unprofessionalism because you have a lot of small villages. You have a lot of people who haven't traveled. They haven't seen anything. So you don't get the service sometime that you have received in other countries, in other places, at finer dining. And you don't get upset. You just say, let me scratch you off my list, and go to the places that serve you correctly. Let's see what else here. French questions during language class. Okay, I'm starting to sweat here. French questions during language class. Okay, language schools. This is a good one. Make sure that you have a good language school. Quite a few of us from England, other countries have been here and had to jump out of language school to language school to language school. Why? Because they're playing around. Same thing with the professionalism. I've had older people, older than me, who were ignored in school when they asked a question. They were just like, whatever, I'm not talking to you. These are usually the 20-year-olds who are doing it. I don't think they are trained teachers. I think they're trained through the unemployment office, and that's another thing you need to know. A lot of people get their training through the unemployment office, and a lot of people go to the unemployment office to be trained because they pay you $700 a month for the training. But then in actuality, they say, forget this job. I just came for the cash. I'm going to go to the beach for the rest of the summer and hang out. So they really don't They're not vested in what they do. So make sure that you don't pay them all your money when you go to a language school, and you pay them month to month, folks, month to month, or for the weeks you're going to be there. And then when you come back, you pay them again, because you're going to be sorry if you don't. Some people have had teachers who didn't even show up. I had teachers who were playing for 30 minutes of class before they started class because they really didn't want to be there. And the kids were, when I say teachers, these teachers were about 40 years old, but the students were 18, so they didn't really care about them. So make sure. You have a lot of unprofessional people here that are in these small towns. Make sure. And another thing about the language schools, they like to intertwine questions about your personal life in the lessons, which is interesting, because one teacher told me it's improper to ask someone your age. But yet in other schools where they were all with female teachers, they wanted you to tell the whole class your age and say it in French. Now, how many times you have to say that to someone who comes to class, I don't know. But they wanted you to do that all the time, every time somebody came in. So you spend your time talking to people about their life, what they do for a living, everything, just personal questions. But yet, that doesn't happen everywhere. And the personal questions are considered rude by some French people. So why are they doing it? They're using the class to find out your business. And one thing they really use, they use this position of I'm your teacher to get more information about you. I've even had people in the classroom when they couldn't get information out of me, let's go to lunch. Let's go here. And then they think they're going to get it out of me and come back and bring it to the class. Craziness, the obsession, craziness. They just have nothing going on in their lives. When you're in a country where the people don't work as much and they're relaxed and they're just laying back, and I used to think it was really nice, but then when you start living in these apartments and things aren't fixed and you're paying rent, you're like, are you living off this rent money? What is going on? Are you just cheap and don't care about others? You know, like one teacher told me, I said, what are you going to do all summer? I'm going to be at the beach all summer. All summer? You're not going to travel? I'm just going to be at the beach sitting around all summer. That's nice. I mean, I'm American. So of course I'm going to think, have some goals, work, do something. But you start seeing where this laid back attitude that I see, that some of the Germans have told me, some of the Swiss have told me, they said, we work a lot. We work like you guys work in the US. But what you start seeing is a laid back attitude where it's nonchalant about your living environment, even though you're paying rent. It's nonchalant about helping you with services. I don't care. And that's because they're going to get paid no matter what. Or they can just go quit, go get another job, get training, work for 6 months in training, $700 for a month. So they don't really care. Someone from Brooklyn told me, girl, these guys will just get a job and dump it as long as they get that $600 for the training, and then they dump it and go work at a bagel store, go work at a donut shop. And I was like, wow. Okay. So the desire I see more in Paris where people are like, work, work, work. I want to have more. And then you'll find that a lot of them who come here to the small villages in France are coming from Paris, and they're the ones who have a lot, have the services, have the professionalism, because they're coming from Paris and they're used to seeing a lot more. So that's really interesting. Oh. And I have on here business saying that I'll call you back, but they don't. I mentioned that one. That happens quite a bit. And then I would always look at them and go, how are you going to call me back? And my French is still learning it, and you speak French. So you're telling me something that you can't do anyway. A lot of them just say stuff just to say things. I call it speaking with no intention. You say things, but you have no intention. It just looks good. It makes you look like you're doing your job. I see a lot of that here. A lot of that. Okay, and finally, I think I covered everything. Yes, I did cover. Oh no, apartments. If you're looking for an apartment like I am, You can look on PAP, P-A-P, particular, particular, a particular, particular, a particular, Seloger, Lebuquan, Seloger, Seloger, Lebuquan, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't like that one. Leboncoin. Tons of scammers who really want you to pay them a deposit to go see the apartment. Don't ever do that. There are quite a few people. As soon as you get to town, you're going to see that. You're going to be so excited. Oh, I can get an apartment. And they say, okay, they'll send you pictures. The first thing you'll know about them is that they always have a long story. My wife, my this, and they'll send you tons of pictures in an email. Okay? So they're getting your information off of some of the websites that you've put your information on, and they'll send you pictures, long letters. Somebody's always sick and can't meet you. And then when you schedule an appointment, they'll say, well, I need a deposit. No, that's not how it works. Usually here, people contact you, they ask you to come see it, and then after that, they decide if you're going to put out an application or if you're going to write an application or fill out an application to actually acquire the lease or sign the lease. Sign the lease. Sorry, folks. Can't think of my words. So warm in here. Sign the lease. Okay? So don't fall for that. Lebuquan is, I can't stand them. They're just, and people will tell you, go to this one. And every time I go, there are tons of scammers. Morning Croissant. A lot of students are on that one. So you have a lot of students on Morning Croissant. Someone in Paris told me that it was really good. They found something through Morning Croissant, but it's more so studios for students. If you're looking for something quick, it's great. They work with Garant Me. Sometimes you need a guarantor in France or someone who will guarantee your rent. Usually it's hard to find an apartment in France simply because they want a guarantor. And that person needs to be a French person who lives here and works here. So that can be difficult. And remember, the location determines the quality of your home. So why do I have that in here? Oh, I know why. I have that in here because if you're in a small town, you may be able to get a cheaper place, bigger place that's cheaper. If you're in Paris, smaller place, higher. So where you find your apartment determines the quality of the apartment. Okay? So if you're looking for something bigger, you may want to look in a smaller town, away from Paris, away from Bordeaux, away from Toulouse, Marseille, Nice, Lyon. Those are your big cities, okay? And Montpellier also is a big city, and it's a student city. So Montpellier was difficult to find an apartment because there's so many students. Toulouse loves lots of students. I like Toulouse because it's a big city. Everyone, and I think about Toulouse a lot because Toulouse professionalism was up there. It was up there with regard to the people in the stores, bus drivers. It was up there. They don't play, and it was a nice city. I like Toulouse, and I keep thinking about it like maybe Toulouse because it's only 2 hours from where I'm at now. So I'm thinking maybe I go back to Toulouse. I like Toulouse. It's nice. It's not near a beach, but I could care less. I'm not a beach bum. I'm already brown, if you haven't noticed. So Toulouse is nice, and I think the bigger cities, you get more of the professionalism because they're catering to people from around the world, and they know they have to compete for their service. I've had people here in Béziers who are just before closing, I make it to their restaurant, and they're like, sorry. I'm like, I don't need the money. Hi. You know, and it's sign still says open, and you still have a few minutes left. So they're just so laid back. That wouldn't happen so much in Toulouse. And Toulouse has great shopping. Shoes and walking. Let's go over that. If you're coming here, make sure you have good shoes because you're going to be walking. I do not buy my clothes in France anymore. Maybe when I'm in Toulouse, Zara has good stuff. I like Zara. And Primark for cheap stuff. I like Primark too. Just because, when you're in France, you have to dress up. I'm used to dressing up and suit jackets and all this stuff, but when you're in France, it's casual. You're going to need those flat shoes for walking. I have purchased sneakers in France that have run down in 6 months, and they were Nikes. And I'm like, what is going on? I don't know what the quality is. It seems as if they're making it with a hard plastic versus a rubber, because my shoes have worn out. I mean, the back of it, plastic sticking me in the back, all kinds of craziness. And I'm like, what is this? So now I only get my shoes from the US. That's it. And all the shoes I brought, I'm so glad I brought them, because a lot of them, as I call them, my driving shoes, where I get into the car, get out and walk to a building, they're not working here when you walk in blocks. They're not working at all. You need that cushion, folks. You really do. So I've had to get rid of probably about 7 pairs of shoes that were painful, that were great for walking to my car, getting in my car, and driving off, getting out my car, walking through the parking lot to a building. That won't work here. So think about it before you come. Let's see, did I cover everything? Socialism, vets, eye exams, dogs, passports, Salvation Army. I'm just checking over my little list here. Let's see. Driving in France, tickets, cameras, reciprocity. Looks like I covered everything. Yes. Now, given the opportunity, would I choose France again? No, I would not. Because of the poverty, because of the apartments that aren't taken care of, because of the Airbnbs that are a hot mess, and they're wanting $1,000 for them. Mainly because of that. And because when you leave the big cities, well, that's like anywhere. When you leave the big cities, you don't get the service that you're used to getting. And a lot of people want to leave the big cities because of the chaos. But I do like France because of the low crime, or nearly no crime, I should say. The lack of guns. I like France because of the peacefulness, but I don't like the fact that it's hard to find people who have traveled a lot. And when you find them, you know it, because they're normal. They don't ask you a slew of questions. They're not in your business. They're helping you. They have resources. The other ones are picking you like a bird for information. They usually don't have too much of a life. So would I do France again? I would do a country that has a little bit more money. I would do, it's so hard because now the world is in such disarray. I won't do Amsterdam, it's too expensive. I just won't do anything that's expensive. I was originally supposed to be in the Caribbean, and I chose not to because I like to travel. And I mean, I could have traveled out of the Caribbean, but I'm still thinking about the Caribbean, especially since I have family from the Caribbean and on my way to getting my passport for one of the islands. Maybe Spain, Madrid, or northern Spain, or Salamanca. I would definitely not go back to Portugal. Too dead, too primitive. The mindset there is too primitive for me. If you're not in Lisbon or Porto, it's drama. And even then, so it's not me. I would do Madrid, because they are really into fashion. The service there was great. I met so many wonderful people when I was there temporarily. I was going back and forth to Madrid, met tons of people, LGBTQ, tons of diversity. Now, I'm not gay, but I like to see that everyone is accepted. And they're flying their colors and dressing, and just beautiful, beautiful. I met so many guys there, just handsome guys. Now, they were gay, but whatever. But it was just the fact of meeting all different people from different places who were just had experiences. When you're in a small town like this, it's like being in Alabama or somewhere in a small town in Mississippi where nobody's done anything. You can't really have communication with them because you don't want to set anybody off. You don't want them to get angry, jealous. So I really like Madrid because, oh, those people know how to dress. And let's put it this way, the shopping was off the chain good. Shopping is fabulous. The people were fabulous. And Salamanca, the people were nice. Now, people don't know about Salamanca. It's a little small town, not too far from Portugal. Above, it's more west of Madrid and northwest of Madrid. And Salamanca is a cute little town. It's a student town. People were very friendly there. I was there several times. Never had a problem. People were, if I couldn't find something, they would walk with me several blocks to show me. They were so nice in Salamanca. So there's so many places in Spain that are north of Madrid that I wish I had really checked out. So that may be my next stop, because I like France, but the diversity and the people and this not taking care of their places. And I think I'm just disgusted with seeing how they don't put any effort into where you live and they live, and just fixing up things and making sure they're correct when you spend your money. It's like, whatever, okay, you have mold on the wall, okay, we'll come wipe it with some bleach. Okay, your heater doesn't work, okay, well when I get back, I'll fix it. You can't cost, and I'm like, and this is another thing, folks, calling someone a repairman who really knows how to work on something, you can forget that. It's called, I will call my friend and see if they can do it. And then the friend may not be able to do it or fix it. I went through that over and over again in the Airbnbs, where different people were walking in that they found in the neighborhood to come fix something. I'm like, what is this? Don't you have a repairman? Too much money. Too much money. We're gonna get Bob down the street or the drunk on the corner to come and fix it. I just don't have time for that anymore. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say, and I think that was a lot. Hopefully, some of this is helpful. And you'll find the right place for you to live. Thank you for watching, and please check out my other videos, like and subscribe. Bye.